So let's finally get rid of a muddy, dirty, scrappy 2016 and say hello to 2017. This is going to be a squeaky clean year. Rip the bars off and enjoy. Woo! Yes, indeed, guys. Welcome to 2017. Hollywood Hills is going to be bringing you all of the reports. There is so much to get through for this new year. It's worth another sip of coffee, believe you me. Right. So I do mean it. Like last year was a little bit scrappy and messy from the point of view of a lot of events crisscrossing over each other. And one of my kind of bugbears about last year was how much overlap there was. This year, I can already tell you it is looking clean. That's why this is the theme of the show today. It really is looking like a banger year. I know I overuse that phrase, but it's really cool because stuff does start very early on. Everyone saw the problems that we had in 2016 and for the most part have reacted very positively going forward. So we've already got all of the dates for the most part for the big major tours that are going on. The good news for you guys out there is I know you've all been super keen to get behind the bars, to get banging, to get racing, and to dust off whatever cobwebs you had left after last year. We ended the season pretty late last year. We went straight into the Roof of Africa, and we're going to be going straight into racing. Not February, it's going to be January. The very last weekend of January is when we start racing. I'm going to get to the calendar in just a few seconds, but right now I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors who have once again come on board for Hollywood Hills going forward into the 2017 tour, and they are Rad Motos. So Dave and the boys are going to be looking after us. We're going to be helping them with promotion and specials as we go forward. We know that they've got some big stuff coming up for 2017. Also, the Centurion crew up in Pretoria, EMD Racing, they've re-signed as well as bringing on board QCOM and BaseFit. So we're going to be talking to those guys throughout the year, talking specials, talking deals, talking training plans. And then just last week, Vans Racing Division out of Vans Husqvarna in Middelburg also came on board as a sponsor. So we're looking good and we're going to be helping the industry grow, make sure that all the events are promoted correctly as well as all the specials going forward. Right, calendar. This is what this show is going to be about. This is our first Hollywood Hills of 2017 and it begs the question, what is on the cards for Hollywood Hills, for us and for you guys going out there? From my side, I'm going to be on, I think it's like 5 tours this year. It's going to be pretty easy to report back to you guys, knowing all the information and being on the ground on point. So the first event that we're really going to be talking about is EWXC. Gary Franks, he does tend to cluster his events quite early in the year, which is good. Stay away from that crazy cold weather and the dust more than anything. I think though we're going to have still a pretty wet January and February going forward. So that's the EWXC series. Watch out for the press. There has been some date changes moving back and forward in the last couple of weeks, but I can guarantee you the last racing weekend of January, that's the 28th of January, is round number 1, Gary Franks EWXC series, and that's at Serendipity. So if you guys are ready to get dusted off, that is job number 1. We fly straight into the GXCC series after that, and that is really, really, really huge. I think it's the first racing weekend of February. We've got the full calendar lined up for you guys. Lawrence and the guys are still going to be running an incredible show for us. They seem to have trimmed back on one event, and that's kind of to come in line with the trim back on the national tour as well. We'll get to the nationals in just a second. But the GXCC tour, they've got huge sponsors, great backing behind them. I'm going to be on point at each of the events, as well as doing the reports for Kings of Dirt and bringing you guys the reports on my highlight package here with Hollywood Hills. So the GXCC tour also starts very, very early on in the early week of February. That's the first racing weekend of February. Going forward with the calendar then, the second racing weekend of February, and this is a very new thing, National Enduro Championship. I've also been brought on board by the guys that are running that crew, and I'm going to be helping them to promote and also keep all the social media going forward for that tour as well as going on the tour, which is great. It's a new thing for me, new thing for Hollywood Hills, and we're going to be able to be on the ground, on point, bringing you all that information. That's the second racing weekend of February. That's round 1 of the still sponsored by Liquorland National Enduro Championship. And Enduro is really trying to find its feet once again in 2016. Most of you guys, 2017 should I say, most of you guys will have already seen the package that I sent out about a week and a half ago announcing their dates and some of their movements going forward. So you'll see a lot of information flying around about the National Enduro Championship. They really have got a good package, a good tour, some real strong dates going forward into the rest of the 2017 tour. That takes us to the National Off-Road Tour. Now this tour does pick up a little bit later in the year, the last racing weekend of March. A lot of you guys will ask why. The reason is to tie in with Dakar. And why it ties in with Dakar is because the tour is all in one mum once again. Cars, bikes and quads, all in the same tour. Like we did those 3 testers last year, particularly in the desert and of course rounds 1 and the final round where everyone was able to race together. That format is staying. So they've found that the infrastructure works, costs are able to be spread, and it's hopefully going to be the way of the future as well. This will be the first year in, I think, 17 years where the full tour is all back together once again. So last racing weekend of March, round number 1, National Off-Road Tour, and there are going to be a couple of changes. We will bring you all that information once everyone comes back on point and when everyone has dusted themselves off from the Dakar. The reason the Dakar is tied in, by the way, is because the cars, quads and bikes from South Africa that have raced in the 2017 running of the Dakar, those guys are doing very well, by the way, but it takes them a long time to wrap up shop. Yeah, we know Dakar ends at the end of January, but it takes them like a month and a half to get their kit back and then probably a month to prep everything going forward. That's the reason why. Okay, the rest of the calendars we're going to be talking about is, since last week, FJX, and that was the Farm Jam guys from last year. This year, all they're going to be doing is running the FJX series. So it's going to be half enduro cross. The guys from Middelburg put on incredibly polished events. I'm going to be working with those guys. You can see the dates, they're listed there already. I can already tell you right now, no clashes with off-road nationals, no clashes with enduro nationals. So we're looking good right now. We know that it's not going to be a perfectly clean calendar. It can't be. There's so many events and so many tours happening that there's probably going to be a couple of clashes with regional events here and there, and maybe 1 or 2 motocross regional or national events on that side. But of course, we are focused on the enduro and the off-road side, and that's the news that Hollywood Hills are bringing you guys. The other big events, or other big events that I'm going to be working with and reporting back to you guys, are the MPs, not the MP, the MPs. So Craig Van Heerden and the guys that have been running an incredible event these last couple of years, I was involved from last year. This year, they've decided to go double up. The reason for this is they didn't want their event to just run at the end of the year as a build up to Roof. They want to be seen as a standalone event, and they truly can be seen as a standalone event. So they've put their event out for the middle part of the year. That's the 15th, 16th, and 17th of June. That's their big banger event, and it's going to be run in a very similar area. They have moved on locations as far as base camp goes, but it's going to be a very similar riding area that they put together in 2016. Then what they've done is they've put together a second event that's going to be known as the Small MP, and that's later on in the year, and that is truly a prepare yourself for Roof event, because we know that the riding around that Dundee area is very, very hard and very Lesotho-esque. So it's not just going to be an end of season thing for the MP guys. Right in the middle of the year and right in the middle of June, that is their first event. And then later on in the year, I think it's October sometime, they're going to be doing their dust off event, a smaller event, not all the bells and whistles, just hard riding to get yourselves in the zone for the Roof going forward. Okay, so big calendar. Make sure you keep an eye on social media. We will bring you all of the information. And if dates do change, we'll be the first to let you know. But right now, we are looking pretty good as far as crossovers go. We look like we've got a clean year running so far. Let's talk about some of the news that's been happening while we have been chilling by the beach. A couple of our satellite riders have been going out there from SA and racing in the World FIM Endurocross Championship, particularly Blake Goodsight and Flanny, or Carl Flanagan. They both podiumed at round number 1. We already reported on that. That was killer. Round number 2 just happened this weekend. Blake Goodsight not only podiumed, took the whole shot, took the win, and with it, now leads the championship. That's massive. So we might be on the cards for nailing down another world champion. Brad Binder's done it on the tarmac. This will be our first off-road and our first, definitely, Enduro Cross South African world champion ever. So that's massive. Well done, Blake. Good luck for the rest of the season. We know it's a short tour over there. You're about halfway marker, but that is Blake Goodsight leading the championship now in the FIM World Enduro Cross Championship, and that's in the junior category. Good run, buddy. Right, so that's really all the news that we're going to be covering this week in Hollywood Hills. Special-wise, we know that the guys from Rad Motos are going to be listing massive specials going forwards. They always do. They literally just got back from Hols this weekend, so we're expecting big things to come out of those guys. Watch the press on that. EMD Racing, the guys up in Centurion, they've got a 20% off all tires blowout special, and when I say it, I mean it. You have never seen so much stock of rubber in your entire life. They've got all brands across the board, so that's 20% off all tires, quads and motorbikes. So you've got Maxxis, Mitas, Pirelli. I don't want to leave anyone out. They literally have all brands. Go check those guys out. They are smoking a massive special, 20% off all rubber and fitment going forward. For the guys from BaseFit, we spoke last year at the end that Ludwig Jens van Vuren, he's going to be running a special taking 10 riders all the way from zero to hero, from now to roof. So if you guys want a fully custom package and to be taught by one of our country's best riders, go check out the guys at BaseFit Centurion. Speak to Ludwig and he will hook you guys up. He's only got space for 10. Get in there early. Also, the guys from BaseFit Centurion tell me they are running a special. If you sign up now in January, you get the rest of January for free. You only start paying from February. So that's a good hookup deal going forward. For Vans Racing Husqvarna, those guys are going to be feeding us specials as we go through. But for them, all I can say is make sure you tag the dates. Make sure you tag all of the dates. And we know from Hollywood Hills side for 2017, it is going to be an absolute banger. If you haven't started training, get going, guys. The first race and the first races are just around that corner. I'll be out there with you guys. It's going to be a huge year. I'm so excited to see a race season start so early on, and I'm fired up. Let's have a great year, and I'll see you out there with a coffee in my hand as always. See you later.